Archaeologists around the world are baffled by the purpose of two massive sheets of mica discovered in a structure near the Pyramid of the Sun. This construction is striking in its apparent pointlessness. Why would the ancient indigenous people need to place mica on stones and then pour concrete over it all? The mica sheets are cut very evenly and laid in two layers. There is no doubt. They did not end up here by accident. Chemical analysis revealed that the mica in the City of the Gods was brought from locations within the territory of modern-day Brazil. What necessity compelled the ancient builders to traverse such vast distances? Moreover, during restoration work on the Pyramid of the Sun, near which the mysterious structures were found, archaeologists also discovered mica. A 7-centimeter layer of this material was placed between the two upper levels of the pyramid. Mica is actually quite fragile. It breaks easily. So, considering it as some kind of sturdy framework is foolish. It must have been inserted for other purposes. But what purposes? Perhaps it's worth considering the technical function of the material. Modern physicists are well aware of mica's insulating properties, but how could the ancient indigenous people have known about this? Yet, it seems they did. Mica can withstand high voltage and radiation. It's a good insulator, hence the conclusion that building temples using mica makes no sense, because if you don't know about mica's properties as a dielectric, then doing so is pointless. Researchers were even more surprised by the fact that the roofs of houses and temples were made of concrete, so strong that it could withstand the blow of a crowbar. What technologies did the ancient builders possess? The Olmecs and the Maya had some incomprehensible knowledge, and later their successors, the Aztecs, did as well. Concrete, as we know, is a good construction material and also a reliable insulator, in which nuclear reactors are placed. Could mica and concrete in the City of the Gods have served the same purposes? The primary purpose of the mica temples, as I said, is protection from external influences, including radiation and so on. But then we must acknowledge, in addition to their outstanding knowledge in astronomy, construction, medicine, and other sciences, the ancient indigenous people had an understanding of nuclear energy. That is, they possessed knowledge that humanity only acquired in the 20th century. Is this possible? Working in the City of the Gods, archaeologists noticed one interesting feature. The upper layers of concrete were noticeably inferior in quality to the lower ones. It seems the indigenous people were simply repairing what had been built before them. In doing so, they might not have known why it was built or who built it. They were merely maintaining an established order. They can be compared to modern users of gadgets. Now, we've reached a point where few people understand how a smartphone works, but they still use it. And if this thin layer of scientific knowledge were removed, say due to some disease or epidemic or something else, imagine if all scientists died out. What would happen to civilization? It would fall back into the Stone Age, and people would think it was magic. An ancient legend claims that to revive the world after the flood, higher beings gathered on a pyramid in the City of the Gods. It turns out that the pyramids existed before global cataclysms. The civilization that built them likely attempted to protect the Earth from a catastrophe caused by a nuclear war or another threat. And clues to this civilization can be found in the rituals and customs of ancient indigenous tribes. As is known, the sacred calendar of the Maya has only 260 days and is not tied to the changing seasons on the planet. Why did the Maya use such an apparently inconvenient system of timekeeping? And where did the remaining 105 days go? The Maya calendar forces scholars to return again and again to the same questions. How did the ancient indigenous people, with computer-like precision, calculate the movement of stars and planets? It reflects cosmic cycles, the orbits of Venus, Mercury, Mars, all the rhythms of the sun, all the rhythms of the moon. And their calendar operates over a very long period of time. They have a figure of 400 million years. One hypothesis suggests that before the Great Flood, the moon was closer to the Earth. Its orbital speed around the sun was about 40% greater. Therefore, a year on Earth lasted 260 days. After the flood, the Earth shifted from its orbit, and the year became 365 days. Let's assume this is true, but the Maya lived after the flood. How did they know how time flowed before it? Indeed, the Maya present many mysteries, because delving into the depths of Maya civilization is only possible through knowledge of astrology, and people who study the Maya consider astrology to be something akin to quackery. The legends of the ancient indigenous people say that they received their knowledge from the gods. But who were these gods? Clues can be found in Maya culture. For them, the color red was the main color. Why? Mars is always reddish. So both the Aztecs and the Maya believed that this was the main color, the main planet. Scientists have established that the Maya calendars reflect the passage of time not only on Earth, but also in the galaxy, meaning they carry cosmic knowledge. Another discovery awaited the scientists when they analyzed the layout of the city of the gods. If you overlay the map of the city with the scheme of the solar system, the distances between the pyramids match the orbits of the planets. In the place of the sun is the pyramid of the sun, in the place of the Earth is the pyramid of the moon, and in the place of Mars is the central structure of the city, the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl. Researchers calculated the proportion between its height and the height of the pyramid of the moon, symbolizing the Earth. The result was 0.532 thousandths. This is the same ratio as the diameter of Mars to the diameter of the Earth. To perform such calculations, one would need to ascend to cosmic heights. Could tribes that didn't even know what a wheel was have done this? The fact that there was a super civilization on Earth, I can prove it in my own way. The ancient system of measuring seconds is actually linked to the speed of light. Well, it's clear that a person running around with a club wouldn't know what the speed of light is. Where then did the gods come from? Whose knowledge the ancient indigenous people of Central America acquired and whose structures they used? Remarkably, images of the Martian region of Cydonia leave little doubt. The geometric objects located there are nothing other than pyramids. Once upon a time, structures similar to those on Earth were created on the Red Planet. Everything will fall into place. That is, our entire universe will simply align into a single, cohesive composition that will work, gradually unraveling itself. Remember the skull with a microchip found in the White Cave in Mexico? Perhaps it is the key to unraveling the deepest secrets of ancient civilizations and those whom our ancestors considered gods. All aliens have a humanoid form, hands, legs, head, intelligence, and so on. And in a way, we are all relatives, in the sense that we were created from the same template. The American Space Agency assures that it has not found even remote signs of life on Mars. Yet enthusiasts who spend hours studying images of the red planet's surface continue to discover direct evidence that life does exist there. In March 2018, a rover transmitted images taken in the Valley of Persistence. According to space researchers, the images clearly show the skull and spine of a Martian. There are even more compelling arguments in favor of Mars being inhabited. When they recalculated the amount of oxygen present in the iron oxide on Mars, it turned out that the atmospheric density and oxygen levels on Mars were 3 times higher than on Earth. And oxygen doesn't just appear out of nowhere, so there must have been life. Some experts put forward an even bolder version. Mars could have been the original planet of human civilization. On a subconscious level, people have always had a pull toward Mars. A simple example, 100 years ago, when what appeared to be canals on Mars were discovered, virtually all of humanity was excited, thinking, now we'll fly to Mars soon. On some genetic level, humans understand that they are from Mars. A day on Mars lasts 40 minutes longer than on Earth. Remarkably, when researchers examined the human circadian rhythm, it turned out to be slightly more than 24 hours, matching the Martian day. Another fact, humans are the only creatures that can trip, fall, and break a bone. No animal on Earth can do this, even if it wants to. And when the strength of bones was calculated, it turned out that the ideal gravity needed is that of Mars. There, even if a person jumps very high, they won't break their bones. Only a third of all spacecraft sent to the Red Planet have completed their missions. The rest either disappeared on the way to Mars or were mysteriously destroyed. Scientists have even dubbed the difficulties in studying the planet the Mars Curse, and former NASA employee Richard Hoagland, back in the 1970s, called the incomprehensible force that disables satellites the Great Galactic Thief. It seems as though someone is blocking the most important information about the Red Planet. Who could it be? There is a theory that intelligent beings live beneath the surface of Mars, preventing its exploration. They are the heirs of a once mighty and highly advanced civilization. Ancient Mars was a magnificent place, an ideal society that perished because of its perfection. In 2011, physicist John Brandenburg suggested that the red color of Mars is explained by a thermonuclear explosion that destroyed the planet's atmosphere. The surviving Martians relocated to Earth. To protect their new refuge, the aliens built pyramids interconnected into a unified planetary system. Then, to avoid disrupting the progressive cycle of human development, these brothers in intelligence were forced to leave the dimension in which we live. Only isolated portals and anomalous zones remain, whose very existence proves that parallel worlds exist alongside us.